Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Crack Grade B online learning platform and welcome to today's session. So today we will be completing 14th and 15th January news related to banking and as well as regulatory body examination. First of all, can you tell me whether my voice is clearly audible and is this screen clearly visible to you? Okay. So let's start with our first news. So the news talks about Luxembourg becoming the number 3 investor region for investments in India. Okay, so they're talking about who are the topmost regions from which investments, or you can say foreign investments, in coming to India. So the ranking as per the latest ranks are USA, Singapore, Luxembourg, and then Mauritius. These are the top regions from which the funds are coming to India. Okay. Most of the foreign investments are coming from these regions into India. And as you might also think that there are a lot of countries, different countries, but foreign investments are usually channelized from such territories. Luxembourg has a very small territory in Europe. Okay. Similarly, Singapore is also a very small economy. Similarly, it's an island nation. Why do you think these nations comes amongst the top investors or the top sources of foreign investment into India? Why do you think it is this? Because these territories, these territories offer tax incentives. They have a very robust financial intermediary services structure. And also they also have double taxation avoidance agreement with India. That means if your investments are already taxed in, for example, Luxembourg or Mauritius, it won't be taxed in India. So it acts as a very tax incentive place. And how does it act as a tax incentive place? So in case of Mauritius, if you think that India attracts long-term capital gains taxation of 10%. And let's say if Mauritius say, I'll offer you 2% tax rate. So foreign investors will think, okay, I will establish a fund in Mauritius, invest into Indian companies, generate profit, will give profits or the tax in Mauritius only 2%. And I also don't have to give 10% because Mauritius has double taxation avoidance agreement, that the same investment will not be taxed twice in both different territories. So the investor is now getting 2% taxation and 8% more profit he is taking back to his home. Okay, so such type of incentives are provided into these regions, and because of which these regions are at the prominent stages of ranking with respect to foreign investment sources. But the news talks about that Luxembourg has recently become the number 3rd source of foreign investment. Previously, Mauritius used to be number 4th, but due to this Adani, allegations, Adani Enterprises allegations related to round tripping and other, and SEBI also become a lot more, critical with respect to all the investments that are coming from Mauritius. So everybody is now, leaving Mauritius and searching for different territory for their investments into India. So that's why the asset under custody, within these countries the Luxembourg has become higher compared to Mauritius. And other important news with respect to today is that France also entered into top 10 regions that are investing into India. Okay, so apart from this, obviously, there are these aspects that you should remember, that the top investor, United States, the asset under custody is 26.11 lakh crores. The second one being Singapore. Here the asset under custody is 6 lakh crore. And then we have Luxembourg, the assets being 4.85, and then Mauritius 3.9 lakh crores. So this is the various ranking with respect to various ranking with respect to the regions from which foreign investment is coming into India. So apart from whatever the news is telling, the asset under custody, or at least I'll tell you how does this mechanism work, so that you also understand it, the nuances of how does these foreign investments work, because as there is not much finance news today. Okay, so let's deep dive into how does this foreign investment work, and why does various countries try to utilize these particular regions and avoid various complications. So for an investor in US, if this investor wants to invest in Indian startup companies, the one thing is that this investor can go to India, establish a fund over there, and then start investing in Indian startup companies. But such type of activity will, first of all, there are various compliances, various complex regulations regarding setting up fund, and obviously the tax rate is also higher. So who will do these many issues? Okay, so who will opt for these many issues? So what do they do? And another thing is that they can set up a hedge fund in USA and then try to invest in India. But as I've already told you that in India, there is 10% taxation. In USA, let's say it is 7% taxation. And also there is, let's assume that US doesn't have double tax avoidance agreement, that investments will not be taxed in both regions. So the investor in US is left with no option but to go search for any territory that have higher incentives. So this will opt for Luxembourg. Luxembourg has a very easy, you just go to the website, open your feeder fund, do some compliances. Okay, appoint a manager over here. All these investors will pump their money into this fund. This manager will utilize this fund and invest in Indian startup companies. Okay, and mind you, the fund right now is located in Luxembourg, and the funds of this feeder fund is coming from United States. Okay, so this manager who is holding all of these funds is investing into Indian startup companies, and whenever the profits will be coming, these profits will be provided back to United States, obviously after deducting various taxes as well as fees of operating this. So this is the mechanism with respect to how investments are being done with respect to foreign investments, especially in these countries. Why do you want to do this? Because Luxembourg has double taxation avoidance agreement. That means whatever profits that you are generating from India, first of all, it will not be taxed in India. It will only be taxed in Luxembourg. And Luxembourg, let's say, offers you 2% taxation only. And India is 10%. So you will only just pay 2% tax here and take money back to the United States. Okay? So this is incentive. And with respect to asset under custody, obviously, in order to do such type of transactions, you need a broker. and you also need a custodian. Why broker? Because only broker will sell or buy your securities, sell or buy your stocks. Okay. And why custodian? Because whatever you're selling or buying, this custodian will hold all the securities in dematerialized form or demat form, or also take care of your legal guarantee of all these stocks or legal ownership. बेसिकली अगर स्टॉक खरीदा है तो वो स्टॉक आना चाहिए ना आपके अकाउंट में. अब उसका देख रेख कौन करेगा? Who will take care of that? That okay, you have bought these stocks, okay, I have your stocks, don't worry. And whenever you will, ask me to sell these stocks, I will give it to the broker and then broker will sell. So that's what the responsibility of custodian is. So this is what the mechanism of foreign investments. Any doubt to anyone? I hope you learned something new today. Pritam, it depends upon that. It depends upon the countries. Okay, unless they will agree on their statute that global minimum tax will not be applicable. So double taxation is okay. Suppose there is this company called HDFC Bank. Okay. So just by being an Indian company and by doing a transaction, okay, in Singapore, let's say they have invested some money into Singapore equities or Singapore stock, some stocks that are listed in Singapore's exchange. Okay. And after some time, they have generated profit. So some profit they have generated. So as all of you know that for every income that you're generating, there is a tax over there. Okay. So first, let's take the normal case scenario. Then we will see what happens when both countries have double taxation avoidance agreement. So in normal case scenario, Singapore government will say that you are generating profits through our exchange. So whatever profits that you are generating, give me 5% of that. The first taxation will happen in Singapore. Then when you will take rest of the money to India, so Indian government will also say, okay, you're generating more profit from outside, give me 10% of that also. So with one transaction that you took, that you done, okay, on that transaction, you gave taxes in both the territories. So the tax for the single transaction has been doubled. But some countries, where these transactions happens a lot. So what they do, they sign a double taxation avoidance agreement. And this agreement may have different principles कि source company जहाँ पर भी है उस territory में there will not be taxation, or they decide on this agreement on which particular country there will be taxation. So the next case scenario will be so the profit generated by HDFC Bank in Singapore after double tax avoidance agreement, there will be no taxation here and there will be just 10% taxation here. This is one scenario. Another scenario can be that if a company in Singapore investing in Indian equities and then taking profit, then there will be no taxation here and 5% taxation here. So depending upon the agreement. After double tax avoidance agreement, there will be only single taxation applicable in only one territory. Is this clear? Chalo. Let's move on to other news. So another news says government reconstitutes EPFO board. No representative from All India Trade Union Congress and Indian National Trade Union Congress. So this EPFO, the apex body or the apex agency, जैसे हर कंपनी में एक बोर्ड होता है, similarly, EPFO also has this central board of trustees that take care of every operation. Central board of trustees. Okay, so this central board is a tripartite body. So what do we mean by this? That there are three different parties associated in this. What three different parties? So EPFO, as all of you know, it is Employees Provident Fund Organization, important for industrial purposes, industrial relations. And industrial relations, as all of you know, it is always a tripartite thing in which government have their representative, employers have their representative, as well as employees have their representative. So these three representatives will, these three categories of, or these three sections will send their representatives in Central Board of Trustees. So if you look at the membership of Central Board of Trustees of EPFO, the structure is like this. Okay, there will be a chairperson, obviously Minister of Labor Employment, then there will be a vice chairperson, Minister of State, co-vice chairperson. Okay, then there will be central government representatives, total 5, state government representatives, total 15. And then, so this becomes your government section, employers representative, total we are talking about 10, and then obviously employees representation. The total number is also 10. So what does the news talks about? So the news is talking about this section of representatives and who are the members now. Okay? So what does the news say? So among the 10 employees representatives who are essentially part of trade unions, there are 3 members from Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh. Okay? 1 member each from Hind Mazdoor Sabha, Center of Indian Trade Unions, Trade Union Coordination Center, SEWA, National Front of Indian Trade Unions. Okay? So the most important news is that the no employee representatives from All India United Trade Union Congress, All India Trade Union Congress, as well as Indian National Trade Union Congress. So this you can remember, okay, because since it's a statutory body also, industrial developments are also within RBI's syllabus. So such type of news can also come, especially when RBI has usually asked something like that, ki which organizations have not been, member. So All India Union Trade Union Congress, AITUC and INTUC do not have members, representatives in employee representatives of this CBT. Okay, the CBT I have already explained to you what is there. The tenure of the board is 5 years. Okay, any doubt? So with respect to terms and conditions for DTAA, okay, this is decided between 2 countries only, na? Until unless both countries agree upon what exactly the agreement will be. It depends upon both countries. Okay? If India and Singapore is sitting, the agreement should be agreeable to both the countries. Otherwise, there will be no, surety with respect to taxation. Chalo, let's move on to the next news. Tenders for e-bus floated under PM e-bus Seva. Okay, so the tenders for e-bus has been floated. What exactly e-bus Seva? The e-bus Seva was launched on August 16 for deploying 10,000 electric buses in cities which do not have any bus service. Okay, so be specific with respect to this, which do not have any bus service. In those places, 10,000 electric buses will be deployed. So naturally, this you will be able to appreciate that while in 169 cities which do not have any bus service, 10,000 e-buses will be deployed using PPP model. Also, in 181 other cities who already have this urban mobility infrastructure, they will be upgraded with green urban mobility initiatives. More green corridor, less pollution, more public transport that is utilized via electric mobility. Okay, so this is the news. The news is only about tender, but you should remember about PM e-bus Seva deploying 10,000 e-buses in cities which do not have any bus service. Okay, and the number of cities is also mentioned, that 169 cities and rest other 181. Next, International Camel Festival started in Bikaner, Rajasthan. Okay, so it will be a 3-day International Camel Festival. This festival, I hope all of you must have heard about at least. It's a very famous festival. Okay, a lot of Banjara community also come with their camels in this festival. It's a very beautiful festival. Whenever somebody have time, they should visit this and appreciate the heritage of our country. Okay, Bikaner district, 3-day international festival. Next, subsea cable connecting Lakshadweep has been rolled out. Okay, so this company NEC Corporation India, a subsidiary of NEC Corporation. So this NEC Corporation is which countries? What do you think? NEC Corporation is from which country? So this company is Nippon company, I hope, from Japan. Okay, so it is responsible for deploying, the Indian subsidiary is responsible for deploying subsea cable to connect Lakshadweep. Okay, so this Kochi Lakshadweep Island submarine cable has recently been inaugurated by Prime Minister to link Lakshadweep Islands with a submarine optical fiber cable within 1,000 days. That means almost 3 years. Okay, so this will be funded by Universal Services Obligation Fund and the project is executed by BSNL. Okay, so almost every region of our territory has been connected with internet. Just, some years back, not very far, some years back, even Andaman, a subsea cable was also deployed to connect with Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Okay. Next news, Bengaluru now boasts most private cars, races past Delhi. So Bengaluru has become the Indian city with most private cars. Okay, so people are having more private cars in Bengaluru compared to Delhi. Previously, Delhi was at the top. Okay, but right now, Delhi only is having 2.071 million units. Okay, a 38.8% drop since March 31, 2021. Okay. Next, we have international news. Ruling party candidate win Taiwan polls. So just remember the name of the president, Lai Ching-te, okay, and the ruling Democratic Progressive Party. So Lai Ching-te have again been, put into power by the Taiwan public and the party's name is Democratic Progressive Party. Two volcanic eruptions have been noticed recently. First in Reykjanes Peninsula in Iceland. Okay, and then Indonesia's Mount Merapi have also been erupted recently. So with respect to this Iceland volcanic eruption, as you can see, the area awakened after 800 years of dormancy in 2020. Okay, so before 2020, for 800 years, the area was not putting out volcanic eruptions. It was silent, but now it has been, it has become an active volcanic region. Next, Frederick X or Frederick the 10th ascends the throne in Denmark. So the previous Queen Margaret has been abdicated. She, renounced her throne, and after that, Frederick the 10th has been acceded to the throne. Okay? And the current Prime Minister over there is Mette Frederiksen. With respect to days, so January the 15th, it is celebrated as 76th Indian Army Day. Okay? And ironically, this is being held, the main parade for that is being held in Lucknow for the first time. Usually it happens in Delhi cantonment every year. And it is celebrated to remember General or later Field Marshal K.M. Cariappa taking over the command of Indian Army from General S.S. Butcher, the last British Commander-in-Chief. Okay. So, what is the theme of 76th Indian Army Day? Theme is Year of Technology Absorption. The year 2024. Okay. And apart from that, this is obviously in service of nation. Next, Kerala launches Operation Amrit. So although the name Amrit suggests, increasing longevity of health, but it is specifically launched to detect over-the-counter sale of antibiotics. As all of you know that because of, over-the-counter sales of antibiotics and not prescribed or not, proper usage of antibiotics, the diseases are coming in drug-resistant format. And what do you mean by that? That, there are different levels of tuberculosis you might have heard about. There is this basic level of tuberculosis which you can easily, treat via antibiotic drug. But then there are other levels of tuberculosis which are resistant to these drugs. For that you need to have higher level of antibiotic. And because of, not using properly those dosages of antibiotic, the next level of TB is also coming, which you also might have heard about, multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. So what does this do? When you utilize higher level of antibiotics, that makes the lower level of antibiotics, which is, of no use. So that's why Kerala government have launched this Operation Amrit, antimicrobial resistance intervention for total health to prevent overuse of antibiotics in the state. Okay. Next, ONGC finds gas in Mahanadi Basin. So as you can see, in India, near Odisha, near this region, ONGC have found natural gas reserves. And apart from this, in the recent news, we've also seen that ONGC have found reserves in what basin? Can anyone tell me? for those who have been attending these sessions regularly. Apart from this Mahanadi Basin, in which other basin ONGC has been, have found reserves of natural gas? Yes, KG Basin. Very good. So as you can see, apart from KG Basin, Mahanadi Basin have also been identified. So apart from these two, understanding the KG Basin as well as Mahanadi Basin, you also need to understand that India is targeting raising the share of natural gas in its energy basket to 15% by 2030. This is the target, and what is the current scenario? Current, it is only 6.3%. Okay, so please remember this. Next, agricultural large language model Dhenu 1.0 on pilot to seed a new AI revolution. Okay, so it's this AI startup called Kisan. Okay, they have last month unveiled Dhenu 1.0, a 7 billion LLM for agriculture. So think about developing a chat GPT for farmers, where that chat GPT will do or will tell you every solution with respect to every problem that agriculture sector have. Think about such platform, or think about such platform. Obviously, such platforms can obviously give you results in Hindi and whatever vernacular languages that you suggest. Okay, but this is what they are doing with respect to Dhenu 1.0. They are right now training that model on various agricultural data points. And once it is completed, okay, so it will be like a chat bot that can answer every question related to agriculture, especially in Indian segment with respect to farmers. So think about the possibilities. Not only this can help farmers with respect to what are the various benefits provided to them at a single place, they can also provide you various type of mechanism that any farming facility can be improved, how it can be improved, what irrigation practices can I utilize, everything. So it will be a very good aspects into the Indian farming sector. Okay. So recently, versatile classical singer Prabha Atre passes away at 92. So she was considered the doyen of Kirana Gharana. Okay, she received Padma Shri in 1990, Padma Bhushan in 2002, Padma Vibhushan in 2022. Okay. Sports, Rohit Sharma becomes the first men's player to play 150 T20 international matches. And he also became the first men player to become a part of 100 wins in T20 international cricket. Okay, so our captain have achieved accolades. Next news related to sports. So in the recent Malaysia Open Super 1000, our duo Satvik Sairaj and Chirag Shetty, okay, they came as runner-up. That means they lost with a narrow loss only. And the team which won was China. Okay. So this is all for today. Chalo. Thank you guys for joining. We'll meet in the next session. Okay. And keep revising these current affairs session. You'll get the PDF in the course itself. Thank you.